Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. If the title of this video brought you to my channel, welcome. I feel like I'm pretty much a pro at these pumps and stuff, and I'm about to tell you about all the pumps that I have tried and all of my accessories that make my life easier pumping. I am a second-time mom, second-time pumping. My first time I exclusively pumped the entire time from birth basically till about 10 months, and now my baby is 4 months old, so 4 months postpartum, and I have been pumping again since the beginning. But this time around I am nursing, but only nursing at night. But as you guys can see, I seem pretty well versed in the pumps. So sit back, grab a notepad, grab a notebook, whatever it is, open up Amazon, whatever you got to do, and we're gonna go through all the pumps that I have used. What are my thoughts, what I like, what's my day-to-day use, like what I actually use day-to-day, what I won't use anymore, and like I said, some accessories and some kind of little things that make the pumping experience just a little bit better and more comfortable. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so I'm going to start off from like manual pumps all the way to like the bigger pumps, just because I feel like the flow is just a lot easier. So like I said, I do nurse at night though, and I'm going to start off with probably like one of my favorite products that I have, or like one of my favorite like manual pumps that I have. Bless you. Okay, so we're going to start off with the Hakka. This baby is, it just does what it needs to do, and it's just great because it's so effortless. You don't have to do much. So right now I have here a Hakka with a lid, and I also have it with the little stopper. So this is my second Hakka of like ever owning. My first Hakka when I had my son, it did not have the suction at the bottom. It was just basically just the Hakka and nothing to stop it. Sorry. But yeah, it was just the Hakka itself with no suction at the bottom. So when I went to buy one for this time around, I got smart, because the amount of times I lost golden milk that you worked so hard for, I've lost so much milk just like tipping this over because I went to reach for something, or when I went to put it down, it wouldn't like balance right. So this suction is great to just like put it on the table, and it suctions to the table. Like you gotta hit it kind of hard, and then also put a stopper on it just to, I don't know, like if you're just gonna sit there for a little bit so no dust gets in it, and then a lid in case you're actually gonna walk away from it a little bit. In case it does tip over by itself, you can cover it and your milk is safe. So I definitely use this a lot in the very beginning. I don't use it so much now because I have another product that I use right now. But I will save this because it's just very helpful. And I'll explain a little bit more about this in a little bit when I discuss another pump. But this is like game changer. It sticks to you like a barnacle. And I just think it's just really effortless because it just sits there. There's no pain. I feel like this pump itself is the only pump out of all the pumps I'm going to mention that I don't feel anything with. Like I don't feel any pain, any tingling, any like sensation. It just sits there and catches your let down, and then with the suction of it, it just keeps your boob like extracted, I guess, to continue pouring out even after the letdown. But I like to use this most when I am breastfeeding, because as I am nursing on one side, I'll attach it to the other side and it'll catch the letdown as I'm feeding my baby, and then I'll switch and vice versa. But then there's another way I like to use it, but we'll get to that in a minute. Next product is also from Hakka, and it is these breast cups, breast shields cups, whatever you would want to call them. But they look like this, and excuse if they're very cloudy. I just washed all of my parts and sanitized and everything. I did it all, so they're like kind of cloudy from the steamer. But anyway, so yeah, they look like this. They kind of look like seashells, but they just sit in your bra or whatever, but they also have the benefit of like the actual Hakka where they suction. So if you like press against them, they will activate the suction and also do the same thing as the regular Hakka would do. So it would catch the letdown and still keep your boob in the extracted mode, I guess, and continue to catch the letdown. So this is what I use the most now instead of the Hakka. The reason why I got these in the first place is because I'm an on-the-go mom. My son is 5 years old and in school, so I'm on the go. There are times that I don't get to pump right away the first thing in the morning, so I just put these in and activate suction mode, and that way when I'm so engorged, it just lets down and flows very easily. Now, because I said the other Hakka is the only pump I don't feel anything with, these you do feel something. You do feel the suction on these. It is a little bit like uncomfortable, but you get used to it, honestly, just because of the design of it, like how it's like inverted. It also has this little flap right here that you open to pour out. I actually don't even use that. I actually like to squeeze it like this so that the hole pops out and pour out like this. This is how I get the most out of it. It's very rare when I use them both at the same time, actually, because I just got other products that I just use to pump on the go, like if I really needed to. But these are great in the middle of the night. These saved me so many times when like my baby wasn't waking up just yet and she started giving me longer stretches. I would just stick these on, and I didn't even need a bra to keep them on. Like they suction on very well, just like the regular Hakka, and they just sit there. So I would like lay on my side and just put it on, go back to sleep, and then when she's waking up, I'll pop it off because it'll only be like half an hour to an hour later. I'll be like, oh, I already expressed some milk, and I will save that. So I really like the design of this, and they do stand just like this. So it does have a flat bottom, so they do stand. Okay, on to some manual pumps where you actually got to do some work. So let's talk about the Medela Harmony. Now mine looks a little bit different than probably what you guys are used to seeing. This is the hospital version. This is the one that hospitals get, where like it's very little design. It's not really made to look pretty. It's just to do the job while you're in the hospital. I have had the one that looks pretty my first time around because I bought it myself. And I loved it so much that when I gave birth this second time around, actually my first time around, I had bought it and then the hospital gave one to me. So I actually had two, but I gave away the hospital one to my sister-in-law. She then had a baby like right after. So this time around I was like, I'm not gonna buy one. I'm gonna get the one from the hospital. So this is the one that I got from the hospital. This is probably my favorite hand pump, like a manual hand pump. It just does so well. And this is a little stand, so you can like stand it, because this weight, if there's not much milk in here, this can tip over because of the weight of all of this. But this is probably my favorite hand pump ever, like manual hand pump. My first time around, I took this everywhere because I didn't have, or that time, there wasn't really on-the-go pumps really. And if there were, which there actually were, it was like the Willow and stuff, and they were like $500. I wasn't spending $500. This did the job. I would go everywhere with this, and if I needed to pump 10 minutes on each side, and I was fully drained out. This is probably the best hand pump ever. So I'm gonna bring back the Hakka. I like to use these together. So and I will only do this when I'm at home because obviously I have to be completely exposed to use both of these. Whereas when I'm on the go, I can easily slip this under my shirt and I'm covered. I don't need to do much. But when I'm at home, if I needed to just express some milk in the middle of the night, which I did this a lot because I hated the fact of waking up in the middle of the night and sitting with your pumps strapped on for like 30 minutes. So if I only had to do this for 10 to 15 minutes, that's what I was doing. So I would attach the barnacle on one side and then hand pump on the other side. You're gonna get a letdown on both boobs at the same time anyway, so that way this was catching it and continuing to drain it out while you're spending your 10 minutes on this side. So by the time you come to this side with your hand pump, you're only gonna spend like 5 minutes or less because the most of it already drained out in your Hakka. So that's how I like to use these two together. Okay, another hand pump, the Frida Mom hand pump. And it comes with a little suction thing. So this is kind of trying to be like these two together. However, in order for this to be like these two together, we need another bottle, Frida. We need another bottle because I felt like this was useless. I used this only once because I hated like how this was. So the way you're supposed to attach this, you're supposed to fold it back like this and then attach it. And honestly, that's too much for me. Like, I like to just squeeze. Whoops, everything going tumbling now. I like to just squeeze and let go so it just attaches. It's effortless when you're one-handed, because most of the time when you're using these things, you're one-handed. So things need to be easy. This is not easy. This I like. It's not bad. It's what I use the most right now. And the only reason why I don't use my Medela one as much anymore is because your nipples and everything change over time, and with pregnancies too, they change over time. So this, while it was amazing, my 10 months of pumping, and I did use it in the beginning of this pumping journey, it no longer works for me just because of the tunnel length. So another thing is I have elastic nipples. I didn't have them before, I do now. And the tunnel here is not long enough for me, so it will hit against the back and will block basically my outpour, my letdown. Whereas this one, it is long enough and can come down. Only thing is, I feel like the pump on this is too rough, it's too strong. Like this suction, it hurts when you start. So until you get past the 2 minutes, past the letdown and all that, it's very uncomfortable and it hurts. Now I thug it out and I just do it because you just gotta do what you gotta do. And at this point, with pumping so long, you get used to a lot of things. In order for this to, I feel like, be effective and use the way I use my Medela and like my Medela Harmony and the Hakka, I feel like there needs to be a second bottle in the kit so you can do both, like how I respect. And then it'll be a great combo. Like, it is a good thing, but I personally don't like the design of this. But if you do, then Frida, give us a second bottle so we can do both. Okay, now to some wearable pumps. So here we have the Momcozy M5, M6. These are hyped up everywhere, all over social media. Influencers have them. It's freaking everywhere. Now, the star of the show, they're kind of equal, but I originally got the M6. Now, I didn't personally buy these. This was on my baby registry, this one specifically. And the reason why I requested this one is just because of like the design of it. It's very sleek. It's really pretty. The container storage is like 6 ounces. And I figured, you know, if I'm such an oversupplier like I was the first time, which I'm not anymore, like I kind of chilled out this time. But I remember my first pumps of the day back then used to be over 6 ounces. So if I were to ever use this like first thing in the morning, I thought about like, well, if I'm gonna use this first thing in the morning, I need enough storage capacity to like hold the milk so that I wouldn't have to like stop midway or something. So that's the reason why I got this the first time. Now, the reason why this baby came into play is because this one just didn't really work for me. I actually ended up getting strawberry milk with this one. I was bleeding and the suction on this was actually just too aggressive. Not only was it too aggressive, but just like how the Medela Harmony no longer works for me as a person with elastic nipples, this also doesn't work for me as a person with elastic nipples. The tunnel on this is too short. And the design of this is a little bit different than the M5, which I'll show you. The design of this, the thing inside that does the sucking, whatever, your nipple gets caught in there. My nipple gets caught in there because I have elastic nipples and they go down there. However, my cousin has this too, and she doesn't have elastic nipples, but the same thing has happened to her too. She bleeds. So I just think it's the design of this, and like the lip that's in there, it's really hard. Like you put your finger in there and you feel it, it's very rough and hard. So even though I'm looking at this and I'm like, why didn't you work for me? Like I feel like I cry because it's so pretty and it's so nice, and I feel like you should work because you look so good to work, but you don't. So I reached out to their really good customer support, and they offered to send me another one of my choosing. So, you know, using the warranty on it. So I saw a lot of people using the M5, and I looked into the specs of it, and I saw that the tunnel on the M5 is a lot deeper. Well, not a lot deeper, but it is deeper. So, I mean, you can't really tell like on camera, like I guess the depth of this, but trust me when I say this one's more comfortable for me. Like, so I get good results every time with this one. I have not bled once, and I've used them, I feel like much more than I had the M6, and I don't feel like the pump on this is as aggressive as the M6. Like it's a little bit more toned down. Okay, now we're moving into kind of like the bigger pumps, but we're gonna do it like a cross here where it's like in between wearable and on the go, or hands-free. That's what I should call it, hands-free. The Baby Buddha. I'm gonna join the bandwagon and tell y'all Baby Buddha is where it's at. This little thing has the suction and the power that you need without being aggressive. Now, people say it's aggressive, but I think it's just because when you first try it out, say if this is your first pump to try out, it is gonna feel aggressive. Like you need to ease into these type of things. Like I feel like I just got this. I've had maybe like 2 or 3 weeks with this, and I love it. And I can see how people can say it's aggressive, but I'm used to it already. Like I'm already used to the strength, but if this is gonna be your first, you're gonna feel like it's aggressive. But trust me, you do get used to it. Just start off slow. So this comes with normal flanges, old school way. You put it in, either hold it here, or you get a specific bra that will hold it. Only because this flange doesn't come apart. So you'll need one of those bras that it like slips in and holds it. And then I have the wearable cups. And this is probably my favorite combo. Wearable cups and this on the go, and you're completely hands-free. Now you do have the tubing, which it's fine with me. It doesn't bother me, especially because it's under my shirt. I don't see anything. It's not in my way. But if you don't like this whole situation, or if you feel like these are too aggressive for you, like these wearable pumps, then I would say your go-to is this if you want to be hands-free, because it is comfortable. And honestly, like the aggression that people talk about this is not as bad as like on here in the wearable cup. It's not as bad as the flange. You feel it more on the flange, but I think that's just because it's the actual way of pumping. Like, I don't know. You just feel it more on these. Okay, on to my last pump, the Medela Pump and Style. So my first time around, I had the Pump and Style Advanced, but like it was like in a little carrier or whatever. It was like the old school version. So literally I spent those 10 months with only a pump like this, the hand pump, and a Hakka, and I did fine. I did fabulous. I was an oversupplier, but not like crazy oversupplier, but I had an oversupply where I was able to have a great milk stash, enough to stop pumping at 10 months and feed my baby the rest of the 2 months with my stored breast milk. I did give a lot of breast milk away in the beginning because I was storing so much in the beginning, and I didn't want it to go bad after the 6 months. So I did give a lot away to another baby. But anyway, besides the point. That's for another video. This pump, it's going to be my true and true, like I will always go to this pump. I use this every single day. I will never go a day without this. So we have the typical flanges, and now we have some hands-free cups. Now, what would you say is my favorite? It's this. But however, because I'm a working mom and I do work from home, I do use this pump when I'm at home, and I will wear the wearable cups so that I can be hands-free and work while I pump. Now, I'm always hands-free though. I'm always hands-free with these because I have one of those Medela strap-on bras that I can put the flange in and hook this up, and I will always be hands-free. Even my first time around, I was always hands-free. Now, I've never tried another like large pump. Like I've never tried the Spectra or any other like large plug-in, like where you're gonna be stuck on the wall pump. But you know, the hospital has the Medela Symphony, and this is the closest you're gonna get to the Medela Symphony. So it's hospital grade. So I do love this very much. Okay, so now what do I use on the day-to-day? So like I said, I do nurse. So in the middle of the night, I only use this, and I typically only use one just because when she's nursing on one side, I'll put this on the other side and then switch. If I have anything left in my boobs, or if she only decides to drink out of one or nurse out of one and goes back to sleep, then I will use the hand pump. I am not strapping up any pumps in the middle of the night, absolutely not. And usually if I have this on and then I pump right after to finish draining myself out, it's only under 10 minutes and I'm back to sleep. The good thing is that Frida does come with a lid, so I just put the lid on this. I just take this apart, put the lid on this, and stick it in my mini fridge that's in my room. And you call it a night, you go back to sleep. This one, the M5, I don't use it as often anymore, but I still use it. I used it on my birthday weekend, actually. That was the last time I used it. I went to a bar and I had them in. So this is what I would use, like if I want to be discreet. Like this is definitely discreet. You put in your bra and your shirt, no one's gonna tell unless they're really looking at you. If they're like very close to you, that they're gonna look in your shirt and see that it's in there. Because I was pumping and my cousins had no idea I was even pumping. They're like, oh my God, you're pumping already? My favorite hands-free wearable though, this right here. I've been using this non-stop. It gets me the most milk. It actually gets me more milk out than the Momcozy. So I personally wouldn't go a whole day with the Momcozy because I still feel like there's milk left in my boobs after every pump. It does not drain me out. But this one surely does. I actually have spent an entire day just using this from morning to night because I was out all day one day. And then of course, this baby with this. So my first pump of the day is always with this, and my last pump of the day always has to be ended with this. Although during the day while I'm working, I do combine these two. This is what I use during the day. So the other pumps, like the baby Buddha, I'll use it if I'm out and about, or if I am like actually have to do something at home, which is rare. I'll just sit in a corner and strap myself onto this because this is what's gonna get me the most milk out of all the pumps. Okay, so some of the things that made pumping a little bit easier is like lubricating your flanges. And this can go for any flange whatsoever, even if it's a wearable. Just lubricate your flanges because it'll just make the friction just feel a little bit better against your skin and doesn't hurt as much. I feel like when I use these flanges, specifically the Medela ones, they don't hurt at all. They're actually very comfortable, and then when you lubricate them, it's just like even better. It's like you don't even feel anything. So my personal favorite is just regular coconut oil. You just take a little bit on your finger and lubricate right at the base of the flange. You don't want to go all the way in because obviously you don't want the oil mixing with your milk, but you just want to do it on the base where your nipple actually, like the base of your nipple touches on the flange. Something I recently came across is this pumping spray from Legendary Milk. This is a good alternative if you don't feel like dirtying your fingers. You just spray it. The only thing is I feel like this can be very thick or dense, like it's a lot, and it actually gets in your flange. Now it is safe for your milk, but I personally would just use regular coconut oil. You can get it at the dollar store. It's cheap and inexpensive, and you can use it for other things once you're done pumping. In those beginning stages, your nipples are raw, they hurt, everything. So of course I like to use nipple creams, nipple butters. Some people say don't use them so they could toughen up. I say use them, but just don't overuse them. Like don't use them excessively, because you do want your nipples to toughen up, but you also don't want to like live through the pain. So I do like the Lancino nipple cream, and I use that one. However, this little combo right here from Frida Mom is great. It comes with the saline spray and the nipple balm. And when you spray this on those sore nipples, it's like instant relief. And then you put it on this right after, and it's very cooling. I like to use these right before bed, so after I take a shower. So my last pump of the day, I like to take a warm shower. The warm shower is gonna help all the milk come down that you have in your boobs. That way you have the most milk output, especially when you use a regular flange. This is the key. Once you pump and you are done for the night before bed, spray some of this, put on this, and go to sleep. And your nipples will feel so much better in the middle of the night, in case you have to nurse or pump again, or in case you are already going through not pumping in the middle of the night or not feeding through the night. The next morning they'll feel so much better. I definitely don't do it during the day, because obviously you want your nipples to toughen up, but for that nighttime relief, just to sleep and sleep well, I suggest. And then last item is, because I have elastic nipples, just the saying elastic nipples made all the ads on my Facebook go to Pumping Pals. And I got these flanges. They're angled, they're silicone, and they're longer. So they do come in a pack of 3. So here are the other 2. It comes in small, medium, and large, or I think extra small, small, and medium. These being the small, well, the pink ones being the middle size in the kit. It is a little pricey. It's like $60. You get 3 of them. You do get to keep all 3 in case of your nipple changing. And if none of these work for you, they do have other sizes that, free of charge, you can email them and they'll send you whatever size you need. And I think that's like a guarantee for life, I think. I don't know. But I use the middle size in the set. Now, I wasn't a big fan of these in the beginning, but that's because it's a huge learning curve, and it'll take a while to get used to. I've had these for 2 months, and I just now started to enjoy them. Like, I can go a whole day just pumping with these. So how I like to use it: take off the regular flanges on the Medela, and it does come with an insert for Medela, and it just makes the tunnel longer. They say that you can sit back with these and like go to sleep, whatever, but I've never done that, because honestly I feel like I still need to be sitting upright in order for all the milk to come out. The learning curve is when you're putting these on, you have to fold them back like this. And the problem is you have to do them both at the same time. So if you have them both and you have to turn on your pump and put them on, that's the difficult part, because you're basically doing this one-handed. So you have to have your pump on, and then the way I found that it works the best, like to get them on easy, is if you squeeze it so it's nice and round both at the same time, put them against, and then tuck your hand behind it and then start rolling it back so they can stay on. Ultimately, they're like hands-free because they do suction on you, but I've had some times where it does pop off, so they're not completely safe. With the regular flanges, I do like to use that Medela strap-on bra. That way I am hands-free. So I have used these like that, where I just put it in without doing the way you do it. Eventually your nipple does get to the point where it needs to get to start for this to actually work. but it does take a little time. Like it takes 5 minutes of pumping time almost for your nipple to travel its way down there, because of the way that this is designed and material. It's to avoid your elastic nipples to get too far. Okay, a lot of information here, a lot of my things. The pump that's going to give you the most output, at least for me personally, but I think for a lot of you though too, is using just the old school flanges, because it just, I don't know if it's like the design of it or what, like the pumps work better, but it just helps like the output, the letdown just come out so much more smoothly. Out of all of these wearables, like the wearable pumps, the wearable cups, none of them have fully emptied me out ever, like fully. Like the baby Buddha comes really close with the cups. It does come very close, but every time I use wearable cups or something, the next pump, if I use flanges, I get double the amount of milk in a normal session, just because it is now emptying out what I didn't empty out before. So if you want the convenience of having wearables, because you just have it in your head of like, I want to be hands-free all the time, I would highly suggest getting a Medela pump. Like it could be like either like maybe the on-the-go ones, like the swing, or I don't know what the other one is, but it's also another hands-free one. So that way you have the option of doing flanges and wearable cups, because I would highly suggest your first pump of the day being with flanges and your last pump of the day being with flanges, and then just using wearable cups all day if that's what you prefer. Like I said, I do a mix of everything, so, and I have done basically science experiments where I spend the whole day with flanges, spend the whole day with wearables, spend the whole day like half and half, spend the whole day with just the baby Buddha. So I've done it all. I have done it all. All right, so that pretty much concludes this video. I will be doing another video where I take you through an entire day of pumping, a realistic day where I use all of my favorites, and also maybe do another video of like, this one just doesn't say. Okay, last thing. I like this one because it stands straight up. This one, the only way it'll stand is if you put it on its face like that. And not even, because when it's just with the pump, it doesn't actually stay. But anyway, but like I was saying, I will do a video with like my tips and tricks and ways you can build up your milk supply. For example, a Dunkin' Daydream Refresher is going to get that milk supply up just because of the oat milk in it, and it's delicious. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.